Hi everyone, this is audap. Let's check out Arcade Archive's Gradius II on Nintendo Switch. Boy, this one's a long time coming. Yeah. Let's see, so we have the original mode, and then we have a Vulcan Venture, which was the North American one, I believe. So let's check out the original. I think that's the one I'm the most familiar with. We have our normal suite of options here for Arcade Archives. I think that's all fine. Not like I'm going to beat it anytime soon here. Let's go ahead and turn on rapid fire on the Missiles and Company. Okay, this is still the old format. It's interesting, even though these games get released in different tiers, it's like they don't, none of the back end, the documentation matches from game to game.
Destroy them all. These are.
Oh boy, what a way to start.
Destroy them all. These are. Missile.
Oh my god.
Destroy them all. Missile.
Ugh. Oh my, I can't even get past the first level. Not even the intro of the first level. My goodness. I know, 1 foot in the grave. Why did it disapprove of my age? The game's so judgmental.
Destroy them all. These are. Missile.
Oh god, it just goes right for you.
Destroy them all. Missile.
I know, it's so hard to work things out with the P-share when you first start. It's nice to finally be able to play this game on this system. It's been available for like the PlayStation 4 for quite a while, which is where I originally played the arcades version of this game. So I'm expecting basically the same thing. This is one of those games that the home console version never came out to North America. So there was a conversion made for the original Nintendo, but yeah, we never got it. Not really sure why that is. I do know it used one of the memory mappers, so maybe they were just in short supply of those chips at the time. I don't know. My understanding of it is that it was a very impressive port. Or remake, I guess. I mean, there really wasn't any arcade code ported at all. I remember seeing pictures of that Gradius II on regular Nintendo in, I think it was the first issue of GamePro. Like the very first issue, issue number 1. Thinking, oh boy, that's awesome, I love the original. I wonder when we'll get the sequel. Only for it to never come out. And back then, importing games, it was, incredibly cost prohibitive. You had to be pretty well off in order to afford, number one, the console, importing the console, and then importing the game itself. Of which I certainly was not at the time. Or now, really.
Shoot it in the head.
Yeah, no, I spent a good majority of my day today hitting refresh on web pages in order to try to get a PlayStation 5 for you guys. Or at least to show you my take on it, but yeah, of course I wasn't successful, just like the rest of you. So if you wonder what my rating is on the PlayStation 5 console, it is a big 0 out of 10. It is hard to rate. It's hard to rate something which you cannot get a hold of. I did manage to, through sheer luck, get the Xbox Series X, so I'm pretty grateful for that. It's just a shame that I couldn't get anything to show you for this channel. It would have been nice to have done a real comparison. Of course, you know me, I would have just had 3 hours full of playing all of the worst games, the worst rated games on the system. But that would have been fun too, right? It was fun when we did it for the Series X. Just to fondly remember and all that stuff that was crappy, which still continue to be crappy, and which had no backward compatibility extensions at all. They just were just the same crappy games. Because I think there's this incorrect myth that's being sort of spread amongst the preview crowd that you're going to get a lot of impact from playing your old games, and it's very much not the case. The number of games that actually get some frame rate improvements or dramatic boosts in basically frame rate or resolution boosts. I mean, you can count them on one hand for both systems. So, or I don't know about the PlayStation 5, but I was awful surprised that of how few games actually received any additional benefit from the Series X. It was certainly nothing that I owned. I mean, I would have had to buy something just to even see any marked improvement on the game, which is like super sad. That's not the narrative that's being pushed right now. You hear a lot of people talk about how their old games are getting nice boosts, and just like, I don't know what you're talking about. That's serious. None of the games I own have a nice boost.
Shoot it in the eye.
And granted, I do have some esoteric tastes,
Laser.
Well, they're not that esoteric. I mean, I still have some mainstream games. I just don't have, like, the shitty ones. Okay, that's a pretty accurate translation. I mean, it certainly matches, bit for bit what was on the PlayStation 4. you know, the presentation is the same. Obviously, you get no checkerboarding like you would with the PlayStation 4. So you're stuck at 1080p, but you know this game. It was like 216 by 112 or something like that. So 1080p, not bad for being able to look at this game, not having to break out an arcade board or run some crazy emulator. Finding a correctly signed ROM with the right CRC check. I think that's all the same. I think it just has one set of settings, right? Yeah. All right, let's check out Vulcan Venture, a slightly modified version of the original.
Destroy them all. Speed up. Missile.
Yeah, if you're thinking I'm going to see the end of this game, probably not. It's an incredibly difficult game. And it only gets more difficult as your ship gets more power-ups. So it scales to your power, you know, launching hailfuls of bullets at you. You know, the more options and you know, if you decide to use a laser. So, yeah, I'm certainly not going to beat this game on this stream. In fact, I think I've yet to do it on any version so far. Yeah, it's not like the home console versions where they sort of decreased like the number of projectiles. One, because the hardware didn't quite match the arcade, and two, you know, the focus is a little bit different, making a home port versus an arcade game. You know, an arcade game's designed to take as much money from you as possible, and you know, you're only playing for, you know, 5 or 10 minute sessions. You know, perhaps longer if you're really good. Whereas the home version, you know, you've already paid for all that up front, so you have to balance the difficulty better. Which is why I actually like the Super Nintendo version of Gradius III more than I like the arcade version. You know, because the balance of difficulty is much more tolerable, even though the game, you know, slows to a crawl, you know, quite often.
Shoot it in the head.
Oh, god damn it. I knew I'd get overzealous on that. It's 50-50, you know, sometimes I remember to move to the right place.
Shoot it in the head.
Sometimes I just totally drop it like just then. Back to the pea shooter. This is still my favorite shooter series. Shmup series, I guess, what you would call it now. Now the word shooters were reserved for a first-person shooter. Yeah, I don't know why I did that either. kind of stuck on this part of the screen. I don't have anything that can shoot up, and I don't want to use the double because, well, I mean, the double can shoot up, but man, that's a shitty weapon. Ugh. Now it's kind of hard to believe that like the joystick was the was the de facto standard in control. Now it's the I mean, it's the control stick, but for this kind of game usually you want to use the D-pad, you know. In a way, we did return to joysticks. We just made them, you know, really, really small. Yeah, now the game's gonna really start cranking up the difficulty. We got 3 options. Well, well, time to die. I know, we don't think of arcade games having frame rate drops, but yeah, the original hardware had frame rate drops too in this section. So it's not a product of bad emulation. It's just how the hardware behaved. Back in these days, you know, KONAMI was really ambitious with their hardware. Probably gonna regret getting that 4th multiple, but oh well. Waited too long. Back to the pea shooter. I just kicked her down. I was never sure which path was the right path. I don't know, we have seen like a slight revival of this genre. But mainly of the vertical scrolling shooters, and not so much the horizontal scrolling shooter games, which is a shame because I prefer the horizontal shmups. But I think they're just significantly more difficult to make. So hard to do it without any significant power-ups. There's just so many of these things to contend with. Probably needs some practice. Alright, there you go. This is audap Stream watching Arcade Archives Gradius 2 on Nintendo Switch. I really like this game, really fond of it. I'll never probably ever see the end of it. But I really think this is one of the stronger games in KONAMI's back catalog. It's a shame that they're not going to continue with it, but they're not continuing with anything. So, you know, the last game that was made was Gradius 5 on the PlayStation 2, which is still an amazing classic. If you have a chance to play that, then you really should. I think if you have a PlayStation 3, you can get that game digitally. You don't have to hunt for the rather expensive physical copy. But as far as this game is concerned, yeah, pick it up. Yeah, I mean, it's a really good game. It's aged pretty well, I think. You know, the graphics still look really good. The sound's really good. The gameplay's real solid. All the controls are real responsive. So yeah, check it out for yourself. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.